be the people that says, well, we demand this is what we will have. We want, and that can go away. You know, that can go away. And I think that's what. Other than that, I mean, media is effective. It's the right arm, the arm of the state, of the government. I'm not trying to like say, you know, disqualify the effect of the media. I just have to say our relationship to it can't be the victim from it for any longer. We have to be able to know when to shut it down, turn it off, and create media for ourselves. And then there you have it. You know what I'm saying? I think we got to grab it by home. Okay.
Sure, I want to ask though, you should.
That's what I'm saying. I'd like to get on that question because I think that, in addition to what everyone said, I think a part of it also is just, you know, what are we asking for from a CD produced by the companies, the transnational conglomerates that we just spoke about in the earlier part of the session. I think that one of the key things we got to remember in the time of Occupy that we're in right now, that hip hop started off as an occupation of the park. And I think if we want this to be our tool, we want this to be our weapon again, which I think it is. This is our culture. I think in general, art is like expresses the highest aspirations of humanity. So when you talk about something that was developed by the Black and Latino community of New York City, we're talking about the have-nots in the belly of the beast.
So before you continue, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can you just go into that in a little more detail? Occupation of the park, the origin.
Okay, so I'm talking about the Block Party. I think the Block Party. This is where it all starts off at. So I mean, I definitely want us to go and have a march at High 97, demanding that these conversations we're talking about and the music that these brothers produce and sisters produce on that radio. But I want us to be coming from a barbecue at the park. I mean, I think that it's gonna be unplugged too. We have to have. This is an organic thing. This is our creation. Hip hop was an organic creation of the children of the art that made art. The children of people who made jazz, R&B, in schools that no longer had art programs, in schools that were being dismantled. And we said, you know what? I'm gonna turn this bucket upside down and make a beat. And you know what I'm saying? And the other one's gonna spit their poetry. And that was the art form that the whole world could gravitate to, because inside the belly of the beast, inside the island of Wall Street, and the island next to it called the Bronx, or the mainland next to it called the Bronx, that these have-nots were able to speak kind of the most advanced visions of what freedom is and what power is. And if you look at it, in New York City, where High 97 and Power 105 control the airways, we have one picture of what hip hop is, but I'm sure that these brothers can talk to you about what their experience is when they go abroad. And the world is still, the echo is still being heard of independent hip hop. And I think that's what, I think that right now we're in a stage where there has to be a fusion of what started off, what was continued at Wall Street has to be, the only way it can be sustained and institutionalized is it comes back into our community. Because that's where it came from. So I think it's going to be this summer we need to do some block parties.
All right, so I want to share a discussion in a second to some of the international influence of hip hop. Before I do that, we've been talking about radio and Hot 97 and Power 105 specifically. Now I know Vill, he just had a recent single. He's had a single called Get Fresh that has just gotten a little commercial playing on Power 105, and you just recently had a meeting at Hot 97, the program director, right? And also at another commercial radio station, Hot 93.7 in Connecticut, giving you feedback on your music. What do you take from that? What do you get from that as far as what you're trying to do with your music and what they're telling you you need to do with your music to be able to get commercial exposure?
I mean, to be honest, what I took from that meeting was I was sitting in the room with a bunch of cats that maybe at one point remember what this was about. You know what I'm saying? Cats said this is their job now, so they got bosses too. You know what I'm saying? And he even alluded to that, the program director, not a High 97, but out in Connecticut, but he pretty much alluded to that he's got bosses too. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see the bosses there, but whatever. They're telling me, what people want or what they want to hear, and it's funny because I'm looking at them. I probably know more than they do because I'm in the clubs. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the hood. I'm out there. And these cats, you know what I'm saying? got the shirts tucked in. I'm not into this or whatever, but it's just funny. 'Cause I'm looking, I'm like, really? You know what the hell's going on? I'm just there like, yeah, you know, seeing the mouth move, but not hearing the words coming out after a while. You know, it's typical. It's not nothing new. You know what I'm saying? I got a bunch of cats behind the chair or whatever telling me what it should be, but I'm looking at them like, nah, you don't know what's up.
So they're basically telling you, so that your music is not commercial enough
Yeah.
for what they're looking for?
Yeah, and I mean, what they didn't have to say, they didn't really have to tell me nothing. What said it all was, I mean, there was a couple other artists there, you know what I'm saying? So, a white kid, and there was another cat from Philly. And based on their reception of their music, which was more up to par, you know, what you hear now, you know what I'm saying, as far as the sound, all that mindless, you know, shake your ass, get drunk, you know, get hoes, get money, whatever. That shit, they just like breaking your fucking neck to it, excuse my language, bro. You know what I'm saying? That said it all to me. You know what I'm saying? He like, you know, giving them a big up, like, yeah, I could see people in the club already saying that, yeah, and his mind is nonsense. You know what I mean? Violence or, you know, one cat sounded like DMX and Tyler. He was just all, you know, had his shirt off, flexing, he's even performing, and everybody's getting hyped off of him. He had a lot of energy. I'm not trying to, you know.
And this is in a conference room
Yeah.
for commercial radio station with the program director and their DJs and some of the other staff.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, based on the reception, just so the reaction we're giving him, that said it all. He didn't have to tell me nothing. You know what I mean? It was all hype. Yeah, you know, they call for bakers. Like Vince Mark used to say back in the days, he got gas. Yeah. So, you know, they became like male groupies almost. So, listen to me, I'm like, you know, we all right, but he sound like, you know, X.2, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm like, you know, but whatever, I'm already used to that mentality, so I didn't even try to combat it or, you know, I just thought it was pointless. I didn't even know that's what I was headed there for, so I was kind of like, just thrown off. I thought I was going for an interview, radio interview. Instead, it was kind of like me having to pitch myself and why I think my music should be on or whatever. So I kind of, you know, I kind of already was, how can I say, turned off just by that. So by that, I mean, I just saw, you know, a bunch of blind dudes, you know what I mean? Just like, you know, a lot of these cats are sitting behind the desk or the table. They're just looking for what their bosses want them to play, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Umi would make reference to Clear Channel, you know what I'm saying? We already know this is control. Clear Channel owns 85% of the radio stations in the country, and almost the favorite DJs, none of them, I'm sorry, they got no power over what they play. They got certain playlists they gotta buy to, because their bosses told them. So that, I mean, that just, how can I say, just it confirmed in my mind already what it was. Not that I needed that, I already knew it. But I just, you know, that's what it was. I mean, if anything, it made me more defiant. It made me more angry. It actually, so I was not listening to these fake dudes. I think about their house in the suburbs or whatever, telling me what this shit should sound like, excuse my language. So that's what it did for me.
Okay.
I want to say something to that about Will, and also I'm glad that he let everybody in here in the music conference meeting. And I have to say that stepping back from that and deconstructing that, because I'm an artist who have been in that position so many times, that you know, I hated that artists have to submit our valued artwork to this system that crunches and chews it up and spits it out and devalues and doesn't honor and respect what we bring to the table, like your work. So we have to go through these degrading meetings that are really and truly exercises in futility, totally. It has nothing to do whether your song is played on the radio, whether you met with them or not. And when the reality is, they said their bosses are not in the room, their boss is the damn dollar. And at the end of the day, the reason why anything happens is because commercial only means for sale. That's all it means. And if you try to give me the lip that commercial music or on the radio music has a certain sound because there's a frequency there, that's a blood clot lie. And the reason why it is because there are people who have independently gone to the program directors of each one of these radio stations with bags and loads of money in order to ensure that their song are played over and over again. And this is what creates a hit, is that dollar. It has nothing to do with some duds sitting in the room telling you what they like and what they don't like. And that's, I think it's the most degrading thing to make an artist have to go through, is to think that our music needs to go through this process in order to be validated or make sense. And so some dudes sit back and say, I can do it better than that with a bag of money. And that's how you get people like Master P, who just basically made himself an artist who, and he has absolutely no talent. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody who likes Master P. I just say he's not the greatest rapper in the world. But he made himself a multi-million-dollar hip-hop mogul based off the fact that he understood the business model, not because he knew how to make a hit record. He could have just said lolly lolly dotty. I mean, look what he said on the Ice Cream Man. I mean, it was kind of like stupid. It was stupid, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't clever at all, you know. But he you know. So you get my point. And that's what I think we have to deconstruct and demystify the music industry so that we can understand what those meetings actually are. They just exercises in futility. They make us jump through hoops, flaming hoops for a circus, just so people can clap. It has nothing to do with nothing in the world at the end of the day. You know, the dollar is their boss. Capitalism runs a radio station. The radio station is controlled by the government. The government is a clear channel. It's clear what's going on here.